Welcome back, dear viewers, to the RPG Imaginarium, where here we seek to catalog the best traditional gaming stories the internet has to offer. Tonight, we bring you a story called Sandwich Stoutaxe, a series of posts written by several TG posters and inspired by a Dungeons & Dragons 3.5 character. It was later archived to 1D4chan. As always, a link to the original story is provided below. Dear Diary, today sucked goat balls. Finished clearing out another of those tunnels full of those elves that think they're gophers. One of them had a basket. Me and the boys drew lots for it and I won. The damn basket had a baby in it. Stupid elves don't know that baskets are for sandwiches. Now I'm stuck with this girl, I think. Might be a boy, but nobody really knows what the elf men have in their breeches. Whatever. Took the thing home. Named it Sandwich. Dear Diary, it's been a while. Been busy taking care of Sandwich. She's finally stopped hanging off my beard and trying to stab me in my sleep, bless her heart. Can't help the way she sounds when she talks though. Her Dorvish sounds like one of those Nancy human harps. How those freaks stand that softy music, I'll never know. Made her a plate helmet today. I was getting tired of buying her sissy bandages for her head whenever she ran into a doorpost. I think she likes it. Maybe I'll make her a full set. Diary entry 432. Day 4 after the second moon of the 31st era of the 9th era. Sandwich is taken to the helmet I gave her. Complains about the dents, or I think she is. Wouldn't know. She is probably trying to speak proper Dwarven. Not doing so well though. Last night I heard a banging noise. She was on the kitchen floor using a candlestick as a hammer and the stone floor tiling as an anvil. Fixed the dent in the helmet. Gave her a good yelling for waking me up. Never been so proud. Dear Diary, went shopping with Sandwich today. First time I've taken the little thing out in this big a crowd, but she needs to get used to it. Sandy has more energy than I did in my prime. I swear she has to know everything about everything she sees. This wasn't an issue until I took her to the market. She alternated between questioning faster than my poor ears could keep up with and just looking at things. At one point I was getting into an argument with some rich elf lord wannabe. Say what you want about those effeminate elven nobles, at least they have some sense of pride unlike this blowhard. He was trying to chew me out for harboring potential Drow spy. Ha! I'd bet my forging arm this bastard never worked a day in his life. It was like someone took everything I hate about elves and made this asshole. During the fight, Sandy managed to wander off. I found her later in the hands of a couple of much less rich and more reasonable elves. However, apparently they had accepted the small amount of coins I'd given her for an emergency and gave her. I'm not kidding here, a hair-dye job. I was about to chew her out for a good bit when I noticed something odd. Her hair was now rust-red colored just like mine. Now the stupid elf will know you're my dad, she said happily. I'm going to melt her pointy ears with lectures she's going to be getting when we get home. But I have to admit, I kinda like this kid. Dear Diary, today sucked goat balls. I was late for militia practice again, and Warden Helga made me run the track 4 times. I asked her why I had to do that when the other militia only have to do it twice for the same offense, and she replied, "To stretch out your taffy legs, you pointy-eared daisy muncher." Then she made me run again for assassin me. Damn it! Why can't she see I'm just as much a Stoutaxe as anyone here? Sure, I'm over a foot taller than everyone else, have black skin and a voice that sounds like one of those Nancy harps from the surface, but Father Mogrim at the Temple of Moradin tells me it's what's inside you that counts. On a lighter note, Papa promised to help me finish the leg plates for my armor. Love, Sandy. Dear Diary, great news! Papa tells me that there is a clan meet coming up at the Basgun Bronzebeard. We'll be there. He's a distant cousin from a cross-clan marriage. I met him at a great clan meet with the Bronzebeards years ago, and I've had such a crush on him. I hear he's been adventuring on the surface and killed a dragon. Moradin's beard, I've not time, I've got to get ready. I told Auntie Vera and she promised to help me finish that dress I've been working on all winter. I know I should have finished it sooner, but Papa's kept me so busy at the smithy. Oh, what to do about with my hair. I suppose being born an elf has some advantages. I used to try to dye my hair red, but it just grew so fast that my white roots showed no matter what I did. Still, it's nice to have the longest braids of any woman in the clan. Should I go with 1 braid? 2? 3 braids braided together? Well, got to go. I really have to get to the market and pick up some gilded hair ornaments. Nothing fancy, little clips for the end. I want to accent my hair, not to overwhelm it. Gotta go. Love, Sandy. Dear Diary, tonight's the big night. I finished that dress and not a moment too soon. I think it looks very fetching. A nice off-grey with a matching knitted wool coat. Auntie Vera said I should use silver ornaments instead of gold because my hair is such a bright white. After trying it on, I have to say it was a great choice. I polished it off with a silver studded leather belt, once in about half the width of my palm. I think I look every bit the proper dwarvish lady, except too tall and black-skinned. Oh well, some things you just have to adapt to. Wish me luck. Love, Sandy. Dear Diary, tonight was the worst night of my life. I hate Bazgan Bronzebeard. I hate him. Everything started out so well. Papa finally saw me in my new dress. He said, "Would you look at that? You finally look like a proper lady and not a scrawny waif." He gave me one of the characteristic slaps on the back. When I was younger, they would have sent me sprawling across the room. Now I'm older, it just knocked the wind out of me and made me stagger. We got to the clan meet right on time. The ritual's greeting to the chieftain and the speeches seemed to take forever. It took a while before I spotted him. There he was, Bazgan, the Dragon Slayer, sitting 3 tables down from us. It took me forever to finally scoop the courage to go talk to him. He must have caught me staring 7 times. Poor Auntie Vera had to elbow me in the ribs to get me to go for it. Well, I asked him to dance. He accepted. We must have spent an hour dancing and talking. I was as giddy as a little girl. Then he introduced me to his fiancée. A halfling. A bloody halfling. I managed to keep my composure long enough to excuse myself. I spent the rest of the evening staring at the bottom of my ale mug. When we got home, I just couldn't take it anymore. I started sobbing in the middle of the common room. It was so wrong of me. It's not behooving a dwarf maiden. It's not how I'm supposed to act, but I'm not a dwarf maiden. I'm a weak, bloody, stupid elf. Bless Auntie Vera, she took me to her quarters and asked me what happened. I told her I must have spent forever crying into her lap while she stroked my hair. Stupid elf hair. I should dye it red again. Love, Sandy. Dear Diary, I'm still not sure what I want to do. I want to serve Clan Stoutaxe to the best of my abilities, but choosing how is becoming a problem. I have to say, I've surprised myself in the militia and I'm not the only one. I really seem to have earned Warden Helga's respect. She says I have potential and that I should become a warden. She even said she would start me training to be a hammerer. It sounds good, but I don't know. I think Auntie Vera wants me to marry. Ever since that clan meet decades ago, she has trotted me a seemingly endless parade of eligible dwarf and human men in front of me. I humor them, dance with them, and laugh at their jokes, but I've yet to start courtship with any of them. She only tried Elf once. That didn't go so well, but I'm sure you already know all about that, Diary? I guess it's just the elven part of me that I will never fully be able to erase. I asked one of the elven traders about it last summer and she called it melancholy and said it could last for a long time. Well, damn it. I'm a Stoutaxe and I'm not about to let my emotions rule me. I think I'll accept Helga's offer. Love, Sandy. Dear Diary. Damn me. Damn my weakness. I met my biological kin for the first time yesterday, and those bastards killed my chieftain right in front of me and I couldn't stop them. It was my day. I had finally finished my full plate armor, and I was standing at attention with the other militia, who were ready to be inducted into the ranks and become full-fledged wardens. We entered the chieftain's hall as he was entertaining a delegation from another clan. Then it happened. One moment the 6 figures before the chieftain were dwarves in the royal regalia. The next, they were lithe, tall humanoids with luminous white hair and black skin. They looked like me. 5 wore leather armor and wielded scimitars, obviously men. The 6th was a tall, lithe woman, dressed more like a whore than a priestess, and wielding some kind of scepter or mace in the shape of a black widow. Instantly they fell on the chieftain and his guards. With a banshee roar, I charged the woman as the men rushed forward. She was unprotected. As it happened, I underestimated her. She heard me coming and moved with oily speed, dodging the first swings of my warhammer with unnatural grace and landing several blows of her own that stung even through my armor. I finally landed a blow and left a huge welt on her side. She snarled in rage and countered with a blow that knocked my helmet off. Things seemed to move in slow motion. Her expression changed from one of triumph and rage to one of confusion. She froze. I didn't. I brought my warhammer down on her head with all my might with a sickening crack. I felt her head pop as my arm and face was splattered with wet, gooey material. My triumph was short-lived. I returned just in time to see one of the assassins wrenching a scimitar from the chieftain's chest. "No!" I screamed as I charged the closest assassin. He finished decapitating a fellow warden before turning to face me. His blows clanged harmlessly off my shield and my counter blow shattered his right shoulder, but he ignored the pain and spun, diving a slender dagger through a slit in my armor on my left side. I grunted in pain, swung and missed. I soon realized the other assassins were moving to surround me. I dropped my shield. The wound in my shoulder made it too painful to hold, and it was slowing me down. The assassin with the shattered arm tried to rush me. I swept his feet out from under him and brought my hammer down on his chest with a sickening crack. As I stood, I heard a rush of air and felt a sudden sharp pain in my back. The cowards had shot me. I turned to face them, but already I could feel the strength draining from my limbs. I staggered, but gritted my teeth and swung anyway. I was a Stoutaxe, and if I was to die that day, I would take as many of those bastards screaming into the hells with me as I could. The assassin circled me like predators savoring a kill. I swung at them, but my eyelids were heavy and my arm felt like a ton of lead. The blows refused to connect. I could feel my life draining away. It was no use. I sank to my knees, cursing myself. I glared into the eyes of the lead assassin as he raised his hand crossbow. I would not give him the satisfaction of seeing me grovel. "Do your worst," I snarled. He merely laughed. Suddenly, a sharp whistle surrounded it and an arrow drove through his eye socket, pierced his skull. His other eye had just enough time to register an almost comical look of surprise before falling to the floor. A bellow of holy rage filled the room as a human in gleaming full plate charged the farthest assassin. He stood well over 6 feet tall. He was broad across the shoulders and had masculine features, with long blonde hair and piercing green eyes. The front of his armor was adorned with symbols of the human god Lathander. He bellowed a prayer as he drove his massive greatsword through the nearest assassin's body. The second assassin was charged by a bald man, also in plate wielding a bastard sword. Not wanting to be left out, I leapt at my feet and attacked the last assassin. He parried 3 of my blows. The third got through and knocked him to the floor before I delivered the finishing blow. Finally, I stood, staring at the blonde human. He stared back, not sure if I was friend or foe. I tried to walk towards him. I stumbled. I was just nearly the force of my will just to stem my consciousness. My gore-coated warhammer finally slipped from my weakened fingers as I staggered and fell. He rushed forward. I heard his sword clatter to the floor before he cut me. I looked into his green eyes and struggled to form words, but my strength was leaving me and I could only make weak gasps and choking sounds. "She's been poisoned, Septimus, quickly," he called out. The cleric rushed towards me and began muttering something, his hand glowing, but my head rolled back and the world went black. I awoke in my quarters at home. I don't know how long I'd been out. Hours, days. Auntie Vera was right by my side. She was nearly beside herself. "Oh, Sandy lass, we thought you'd lost your life." This time she was the one who lost her dwarven composure. Papa was there too. "You did us proud, lass," he said. I managed to find out who that man was. His name is Dorn. He's a paladin of Lathander. He's been traveling with a cleric of Helm named Septimus and a halfling ranger named Royal Swifthistle. Apparently, they had found the real dwarven delegation, Murder in the tunnels and had rushed to warn the chieftain. Now Doran wants to meet me, but I can't know or imagine why. Love, Sandy. Dear Diary, it's been almost a week since I met Doran Rogan, Paladin of Lathander. I could hardly imagine why a hero of gods would want to meet little old me. Still, as I walked out to the common room with Auntie Vera supporting my arm, I was still a little weak from the poison, you see. I couldn't help but feel a little giddy, almost like I felt the night before Basgan Bronzebeard took my little adolescent heart in his hand and crushed it. When he saw me, he stood and finally got a good look at him. He was tall and masculine, with broad shoulders, a muscular but a lean frame and a chiseled jaw. His long blonde hair was tied behind him in a ponytail. Doran introduced himself and asked me how I was feeling. He complimented me on my bravery. He was worried that the poison might have some after effects, so he came to check on me. I thanked him and we began to chat. I must have seemed like a little girl smitten with a handsome deep warden, but I didn't care. I was fascinated by him, his tales of what he had done. More than that, I wanted to know what being a paladin really meant. He told me he would be leaving soon. I desperately wanted him to stay, but I could do nothing. Still, a sense of certainty filled me. I knew what I had wanted to do with my life. I have just come from the Temple of Moradin, and a long talk with Father Morgrim. He was unsure and if taking the oath to the Dwarven God was unprecedented, but I was bound and determined. I knew my path. I started my paladin training in the morning. Love, Sandy. Dear Diary, well, today's the big day. Father Morgrim says it's time for me to leave the clanhold. A paladin's place is not to simply stay in one spot. He must undertake a quest for the good of all. So, Father Morgrim has sent me out into the world at large to do great deeds in Moradin's name. Don't get me wrong, I want to do this. Ever since Doran Rogan, Paladin of Lathander, saved my life, I've known this was my true calling. I've just felt a little melancholy about leaving. I've only ever been to the surface a few times, never gone out of sight of the clanhold. Poor Auntie Vera, who was almost beside herself. I can tell Papa doesn't want me to leave either. I wish I could stay, but this is my duty. The world at large is an anvil on which Moradin is going to reforge me. When I return, I will be a champion of the All-Father, better suited to defending my home. I have to travel light, so that means I can't take you along, Diary. You wouldn't believe some of the things I found while cleaning out my quarters. I still have the 1235 of Ranger's summer collection. Fortunately, Papa was still at the smithy and I managed to burn it in the hearth before anyone saw. How embarrassing. There was a meeting in the clan hall to see me off. Everyone was there, even Basgan Bronzebeard and his wife. I'm going to miss this place. Well, time to turn it in. I have to get out, have an early start tomorrow. Love, Sandy. P.S. On second thought, I think I will bring you with me, Diary. I really don't want Auntie Vera finding all those love songs I wrote when I was a girl. She might get it into her head to try to marry me off again. When Sandy pushed the door open to her father's workshop, she heard the familiar sounds of his work. She could even read his moods by the pace of his movements, the tone of hammer blows or file rasps. He turned as she entered, eyes flickering across the heavy armor she wore, armor he had largely crafted himself, fitting each piece to his daughter in his last act of fatherly protection. I'll be leaving with the clerics for Oakhurst soon, Papa. She smiled, moving to his side at the workbench. Her own helm sat there, and Grilgar was wordlessly brushing its surface with an oily cloth, buffing the thin layer of bluing that would protect it from rust. She saw that he had added a hinge visor to the helm, a series of diagonal vents across the surface, allowing excellent vision yet covering the entire face. Finally, not looking up from his handiwork, he spoke. I did this for you, daughter. You might find, well, your eyes ain't likely to be used to the sun just yet, and he let out a soft harumph, broad shoulders straightening. You know I'd never taught you to be anything prouder of your face, lass, but outside the hold, well, maybe sometimes you might want strangers to know you by your word and deed before they can judge ye unfairly as all. He finally glanced up, meeting those red-violet eyes he had come to find so familiar, so lovely. He could see the welling of tears blink them away, and he harumphed again, as always never quite able to respond to the ease with which his daughter showed emotion. Sandy leaned down slightly, kissing the top of her father's head, his graying hair having long ago receded from its peak, a change for which he had often loudly blamed her. "I love you, Papa. I'll make you proud, I swear it." A pause of a few seconds, then his quiet, rumbling voice. "I'm proud of you already, lass, and always will be." Sandy held her father for some time longer, saying nothing. Then she took up her helmet and turned towards the door, father and daughter alike hiding tears from the other. Thank you all once again for tuning in to another RPG Imaginarium. We're glad you enjoy these videos and stories. If you enjoyed this video and want more like it, how about giving us a like and subscribing to our channel? We're always glad to hear your feedback, and if you have a story you'd like us to read, go ahead and send us a link, whether it's your story or posted somewhere else. And of course, we will credit you and the original poster. A special thanks to 4chan's TG board and Reddit and their associated archives and subreddits for providing such great stories. Thanks again, and stay caffeinated.